Yeah. So, as I talked about a few episodes ago, I was dealing with some family stuff. My grandfather did in fact pass away, and I had to travel back to Colorado for the service and to be with family and stuff. So it made editing and recording schedules get a little wonky. So like episodes have been coming out kind of irregularly, but we're still getting at least 4 out in December. That's what's going to happen.
That's right.
So thanks to everyone for sticking around and, dealing with non-consistent schedules. We try and be consistent, and we're back on like a consistent recording schedule, and we're trying to be consistent with when we're putting the episodes out. But obviously things didn't work out that way this month. So, and also I really want to thank everyone who reached out to me, who knew what was going on, and really appreciate it. So I did go back to Colorado for about a week. To be with family, and the whole family was out. It was really nice to see a bunch of so I'm close with all my uncles. I've got 3 uncles that I'm close with. My grandma I'm close with, and I got to see all of them and spend some real quality time with all of them, and it was really nice. Actually, it was hard because I loved my grandpa a lot, and he was very important to me and instrumental in my upbringing and stuff. But I also haven't been in Colorado for a while, and I've sort of done my grieving already because I kind of knew he was not well for a while.
Well, and I mean, didn't he have some? I mean, I don't want to fill in too many gaps, but hasn't he kind of had some mental health issues that?
Absolutely, he had some dementia going on. It wasn't so bad that he didn't recognize people, but he was pretty checked out.
Right.
And he's been like that for a bit, even for probably the better part of 5 or 6 years now. And and it really sucks, man. I will just say this as kind of the sad part of it all. It kind of feels like he was a COVID casualty in a way, even though he didn't die from COVID.
No,
when,
I get that.
When you're that old and you're sort of checked out from the world, as any interaction is important to you, and
right.
When basically him and the rest of the world were told to just stay at home and not even see your family or your friends or go out, at his age, his favorite thing to do was just go out and eat, and he couldn't do that.
Yeah. Isolation is a killer for some people.
Yeah, and I think it really kind of broke him even further these last couple of years. And so that was kind of the saddest thing, knowing that he probably could have hung on a little longer and probably would have had a better life. Or I don't know. That's speculation, of course. But yeah, it's kind of tough to realize that. But also, shout out to my uncle. He moved out from New Jersey, bought a house, moved my grandparents in. So he did get to experience the last year just surrounded by family and just really kind of living his best life. So yeah. And and he died in his bed in his home, surrounded by family at the ripe age of 83, which is the best any of us could ask.
I mean, I hope it's that good for me,
Literally. And I mean, it's wild to think that in 100 years we've gone from life expectancy of 45 to 75 or whatever. And so
it's way past 75 now.
Is it really?
75 is when we were in high school. Man.
Yeah. So he had a really good run and made it as far as any of us could hope to. And so anyway, that's the sad stuff out of the way. I had a really, really good time in Colorado, actually. To my own kind of surprise, I thought it was going to be a very stressful trip.
Sure.
And there were moments that were, but I was able to offer a lot to the family. I was able to run sound for the service, which took a huge weight off of people. And I was just able to be there again because I've kind of already done my grieving. The people who were there haven't been able to. Right. So I was able to just be a rock for them, And
that's tight, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool. And and I had a really, really fucking good time. Got to see some puppies, got to eat some really good food. Yeah. That wasn't the cat. If you heard that jingle bell. That might have been Santa coming in.
At the very least, Rudolph.
Yeah, at the very least. But yeah, so anyway, that's all I really have to say about that. But, thanks again to everyone who reached out and thanks to everyone who's continued to listen and support the pod. Means the world to me that you all give a shit,
Fuck yeah,
with obviously a lot of thoughts of mortality on the line, it's still just so cool to me that we get to do this podcast, and I think when I reach that old age, I'll be able to just listen back to this and relive those memories of the stories that we're telling. And
oh yeah,
I just think that's gonna help my mental health throughout the years of being able to kind of these were the really old stories told from the perspective of when I was in my late 30s and early 40s, and I don't know, that's gonna be super fucking cool. So
damn straight, man.
Thanks to everyone for supporting us in what we do and letting us do this thing. And yeah, I mean, we're nearly 100 episodes in, which is
so close,
bananas.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, I couldn't have imagined when we started this that we would be doing this several years later, nearly hitting 100 episodes, and then I don't know, maybe we'll do 100 more. I really don't know.
Fuck yeah,
we'll do it until we just absolutely can't, I guess. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, yeah. Thank you all.
Yeah. Anyway, how have you been, man? We kind of didn't see each other for a couple weeks there, so.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. I always have a lot of issues around the holidays with depression and anxiety and stuff. So it's
a lot of folks do. So
I'm dealing with it. But got to see the new Ghostbusters movie last week, and that was a fucking hoot.
Hell yeah, man! I'm sad I missed that, but looking forward to catching it on my own. Yeah,
big thumbs up. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
I actually enjoyed it more than Ghostbusters 2, which I know is a contentious opinion, but
hey, I believe it. Ghostbusters 2 is medium.
It had the original crew, which makes it a Ghostbusters movie, but so did this one. So
hell yeah, right on.
It's good.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, anything else been going on? Anything else we need to catch up on?
I'm sure there's plenty of shit that's happening in the world that I don't want to talk about.
Oh, no. None of the world shit. Yeah, no, I don't know.
But no, I mean, I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting, but,
Yeah, I guess we're just bracing for winter here.
Yeah. It's been windy and fucking... The winter's actually here, we finally went from 60 degrees and gently misting it's the fucking tropics in November
yeah
to actual winter weather in December. So,
yeah. Cold windy rain.
Yeah, the words polar vortex are back in the vernacular.
They are. Yeah, that's apparently going to happen. So yeah, brace for that.
Yeah.
But right on. Well, then we'll just do the quick housekeeping stuff. Again, want to thank everyone. Hit us up on Twitter at ComingDownPod or email us comingdownpod@gmail.com. We love to hear feedback or, just anything. And if you want to be on the show, that's a great way to hit us up too.
Yes, please.
Please do that. And then we are doing the Patreon again, so you can go to patreon.com // or slash.
There you go. It is a forward slash.
Yeah, forward slash. Some sort of slash. Coming Down Pod. You'll find it. I believe in you.
I was never going to correct you, but you corrected yourself, so well done.
There was a world where / meant a thing.
It was in DOS.
Old man screams at clouds. Patreon.com /comingdownpod. Yeah, we do a thing there where you can contribute any amount you want, but even $1 a month, you'll get some swag from us.
Oh, yeah.
It helps us pay for the hosting. Really love everyone who's doing it so far, and if you want to do it, we've got all these goodies like shirts and buttons and stickers and stuff. So
damn straight.
Just hit us up there, and other than that, man, I think you have a story for us.
I do. So I'm pretty sure that you, as well as everyone that I hang out with, are well aware that I used to work for a restaurant that was known for selling desserts and cocktails.
Indeed, yeah.
And prior to that, I'd been going to school at an ill-fated technical institute.
That's what it stands for. ITT, ill-fated technical No,
you're close. You're close. But it's weird because it's ITT Technical Institute.
Oh, it is.
So
right, yeah.
the TI at the end isn't in ITT.
Oh, yeah, it's like ATM machine all over again.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, man. Good luck with that. But yeah, so I'd done my fucking stint at ITT, and I'd been scrapping for like 8 months or so, like trying to nail down an interview.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone an actual job.
And this is, so this would be post the job you talked about recently, where you just got to sit around and do fucking nothing for 9 months?
Absolutely, well post. Like, I'd been going to school full time for a decent amount at this point. I don't know exactly how long I'd been full-time because I kind of spread it out over a little bit where I was like part-time and then like managed to really buckle down and make it work. But yeah, I was promised a $60,000 a year job as soon as I got out, and I had been putting out like at least 4 applications a week, with like cover letters and resumes and shit, like, now jumping through the hoops, and like sometimes more.
Did you complete your quote-unquote degree from ITT?
So this is a bone of contention. I completed all the credits necessary, but at the end they decided to tell me that my state certified credits were no longer valid.
What?
And that I needed to do another like term and a half.
What?
To complete some basic education credits.
Oh, because you had transferred some credits over from another
state school, from SOU. Yeah.
Okay.
And they just like decided to try to squeeze some more money out of me.
Yeah. And
I was like, this school's fake anyway, like, fuck you guys.
Right.
And so I was just lying to everyone and telling them that I had a degree from ITT.
Sure.
Just to like try to get a fucking interview.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even getting any callbacks. Like, not a fucking shred. And like, come to find out there's 12 times as many graduates in that field as there are jobs, or at least at that time there were. Just statistically speaking.
So that's what was really going on, was it was just a saturated market?
Oversaturated, like,
oversaturated. Yeah.
And so
and what jobs were you trying to get?
Any kind of internet administrator position,
Oh, that's right, because they kind of talked you into doing like
networking.
Yeah, networking and admin stuff.
So I knew how to program internet backbone routers. Like, that is what I spent the most time doing, is like, well, not programming backbone routers, but I spent the most time doing like high level networking stuff. Like, my thesis project was selling a network plan to a company that had, a large headquarters with remote offices and remote workers, and it needed a honeypot as well as like some very large segmenting. And I'm not sorry, I'm getting way too fucking technological.
No, that's okay. I like this a little bit, because what the fuck is a honeypot in like IT world? Honeypot
is one of my favorite things, and it's why I should have gotten into security, which is what I really wanted to get into computer science for, but got dollar signs in my eyes and let this guy fucking lead me down to the fucking gilded path. But a honeypot is a system that has been set up on a network subsegment that is unprotected from the, or seemingly unprotected, and it's like a system that you could theoretically infiltrate and try to maybe like cause some ruckus on the network. But it's been set up on this subsegment of the network to lure in attackers.
This is kind of what I wondered. I was like, it's a real ass honeypot.
Yeah.
It's like, come muck around over here, and it'll just kind of like run them in circles for a while, and they'll never kind of really get anywhere.
There's
but they
no way
think
they
they're
can
like
actually
doing something.
Get to anything, but it's this computer with a bunch of open protocols that makes it look like you can get some shit, and maybe it'll even let you get some elevated access to certain parts of this fake ass network, just enough to keep them running in circles long enough.
Man, that's fascinating. I mean, it wouldn't have taken too much of a leap to realize that that's like, a part of network security, but like, I certainly didn't realize that that was a part of it. Like, yeah, that's interesting.
And its utility may have faded some since I was in school because,
Sure.
I mean, at that point, botnets were kind of a new thing and nobody really knew how to deal with them.
Yeah.
And honeypots don't really do shit for a botnet, I mean, like...
Sure.
Yeah, you can get a look at the bots and stuff, but, like... You're not necessarily going to get a handle on where they're coming from or why
Bots
they're
don't
infesting
need no
your
honey.
system. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it might be interesting for, like, categorizing bots or whatever, but, like, you're not going to catch an actual hacker with a honeypot unless they're maybe less sophisticated now. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. There's maybe plenty of, like, hackers out there who aren't leading the charge with bots, but like,
maybe the honeypot has gotten more sophisticated.
That's possible as well. I mean, like I said, I was going to school in 2005 to 2008, so like things have definitely changed since then. But
we are starting Honeycoin.
Get it on the ground level here,
just
folks.
so everyone knows.
It's our new blockchain effort that.
Yep. It's also completely legit.
Oh, yeah.
And wouldn't be anything to lure anyone away from anything. It has nothing to do with any of that.
No.
That was actually just a total non sequitur. Anyway, continue.
But yes, look for Honeycoin coming soon.
Honeycoin.com.
There probably already is a Honeycoin, and we're just advertising for them at this point.
Right?
Fuck. Yeah. Anyway, we'll let you know when we actually get our blockchain off the ground. But yeah, so after all of this, months and months of jumping through hoops and like telling people that I don't have a fucking LinkedIn account and like why do I fucking need one, and like eventually getting to some decent leads from the fucking employment department at my school. Fucking finally, the best thing that I got out of that employment leads packet was a callback from Comcast, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's internet.
All right.
They wanted me to be tier 3 tech support.
Okay.
Like, I could have gotten that fucking job without going to school.
It's like practically entry level.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's not entry level, which is what I could have gotten without going to school. But like,
yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ,
but not
man.
far off, probably.
No, like I'm qualified to fucking set up their goddamn everything.
Yeah.
And you want me to fucking do your call center? Fuck you, dude.
Yeah. And then you're back at a call center, you're like, wait a tick. Like, I've done a number of these.
Jesus Christ, especially after stream. I'm just like, no way. Not a fucking chance.
Seriously, right? Like, are you gonna pay me to do nothing? And even then, I don't know if I'm in.
And like I've dealt with customer service at Comcast before, and I'm just like, no.
It's infuriating. Yeah,
I'm not even gonna fucking dip my toe in that.
No, you're just gonna get yelled at all day.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real shit show. And so like that was, I actually did call them back, but really just to get information about what they were trying to hire me for, and like. Once I figured out that it was just call center.
Oh, they probably were disguising it a little bit too, of like, oh, you could be this team member of this. And
exactly.
It's like, wait, like, but what am I doing?
Tier 3 tech support team.
Would you?
And I'm just like,
but describe the day-to-day work for me, and it's like, well,
you'd be taking calls. I'm just done.
All right, fuck this.
Done here.
Yep.
So yeah, like that was the only thing that I actually got even a single bite on, and I got really fucking depressed and. Was having a hard fucking time and like ended up coming short on rent like a month, and my roommates were super chill. They're just like, dude, we see you fucking beating the pavement, going out there in your fucking shitty substitute teacher clothes and like trying to make it work, and like we'll spot you on this one. And like right after that is when I had my fucking gallbladder almost burst.
Oh, right. Yeah, reference back very early episode, probably in the first 20 or something like that. Yeah.
And so like that was gnarly. And then once that happened, they were like, buddy, don't fucking sweat it. Like we got you.
Man, shout out to those roommates, dude.
Yeah, fucking Doug and Lindsay, good fucking people, man.
Yeah, they took care of your ass
Absolutely.
for a minute there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like,
good.
they had 4 kids that they were feeding, so like there was plenty of times when they were just like, man, like, do you want some fucking dinner? Like, like, get in here. And I'm just like, fuck, you guys are too good to me. But
yeah, that's nice.
Eventually, like, I was back on my feet, and I'm just like, I don't even fucking know what I'm doing now. Like, I think I was out for like 2 months or something is how long it took me to recover. Yeah, at least a month and change.
Yeah.
And by that point, I was just so wiped out and like so disillusioned with all of this shit. I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I've just got to find a job at this point,
like anything.
And, you know, thankfully, someone that I'm very close to was like, look, I need a dishwasher. I know that this is way, like,
oh, man,
not what you're trying to do, but it's a fucking job.
It's a job you could start today.
Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? This is actually exactly what I'm looking for right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything that's not this world right now. Yeah. No, that makes sense, man.
And I'm just like, I don't even care that it's just fucking minimum wage. Like, I don't want to deal with the fucking public. I don't want to fucking do anything that's like really physical. Like, because I can't. I mean, like, I'm just recovered from fucking surgery. Right. Like, I just want to fucking be in a place and do a thing
and make a money.
Yeah,
make
exactly.
a honey coin.
So this is exactly perfect. And like, this is in the winter of 2008. So those of you who were alive back then might remember this was a massive recession. Like, there were people who were losing their like fucking like close to retirement jobs and having to go fucking get a job at Wendy's because
it was the very next year that we got a stimulus check because of how bad that recession was.
Exactly. Yeah. It was super gnarly. So, you know, at the age of 30, I was fucking thrilled to have a dishwasher job.
Yep.
And wasn't really where I expected to see myself, but
sure,
you know, was happy to be there. And you know, it helped that I was so close with the person that got me hired, and like,
man,
you know,
this is like slightly paralleled. So I think by 2008, I actually had worked my way up to middle management at the movie theater, but just previous to that was the same for me. Couldn't find a job. Kind of like the early bits of the recession were happening. I just couldn't find anything, and so I took a minimum wage job at a movie theater, just being popcorn monkey, dude. Just
dude.
Wearing a red vest and a bow tie and serving popcorn to people for $5.75 an hour, and was like, I don't want this job, but like, what the fuck else am I gonna do? Like,
no shit,
I was behind on rent. I was fucking and it's like, all right, man. So I totally get that, dude.
Yeah.
Forget
about it. Like, I was stoked, and I mean, like, the place was pretty cool too. You know, it was like super hip and like, you know, like plenty of beautiful people working there and beautiful people coming in to enjoy the place. Like,
it's a trendy ass place.
Yeah, and you know,
are you trying to not say it?
Yeah, like,
okay, that's fine.
I don't really know why I'm trying to protect the owner, but like,
that's fine. Whatever,
you know,
we'll leave it out.
I don't feel like I feel like everybody who knows this story knows who I'm talking about, and like anybody who doesn't, like,
you can probably figure it out.
Yeah, I'm not like, it's really fucking hard to like have a successful fucking food service business right now. So like,
oh, for sure, that's fair.
Not trying to rock the boat for anybody.
That's totally fair.
I mean, like, I got put through enough shit at this place that I feel like I definitely like maybe have a reason to like not do what I'm doing right now, but like at the same time, like,
hey,
fuck it. It doesn't actually change the story at all knowing where it was.
That's totally fine. I was just asking for just for purposes of me blurting it out or something.
And then there, you know, if I do blurt out the owner's name or the name of the fucking restaurant, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
All right.
And there might be a time when I tell a bunch of stories that are just about this restaurant. We might fucking call it by name. Who knows? But like,
For right here, right now?
For right here, right now, especially with how things are in the service industry, I don't want it on my conscience,
to blow up someone's spot.
Yeah, and fuck. With the amount of listeners that we have, I don't feel like that's even really that big of an issue. But all the same, just
wait. Are you saying our 100,000 listeners?
I mean, it's only 100,000, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna fucking start a flash mob. I mean, if anybody does want to start a flash mob, hit us up. But I'm just saying, it's unlikely,
dude.
Unlikely.
Yeah. I'll get down on a flash mob any day. You guys start it, we'll be there.
Yeah. Our fucking army, our flash mob army.
Yep.
Let's do this. But yeah, so fuck. I got this fucking dishwashing job in the middle of a fucking recession at this pretty fucking chill spot, and had its issues, definitely kind of a weird fucking fast loose kind of place, but I was into it,
yeah.
And it was fuck, dude. I don't know if you've ever had a dishwashing job, but
I have.
There is, and in fact, shout out to Sean, the fucking lead dishwasher there. He wrote this fucking screed called Zen and the Art of Dishwashing and he pinned it to the wall back there. And I'm just like, man, this guy fucking gets it.
Yeah.
And just having him in my corner, I'm just like, oh man, oh, now I forget. Oh, McNulty. I was fucking McNulty and Lester fucking... anyway, I was watching The Wire at that point in time.
Okay, yeah.
And he was the dude who, played fast and loose with the rules and was fucked up all the time. But he still got results.
Yeah.
And I was the cool, calculated motherfucker who played by the rules and fucking made sure that everything got done on time, And we complemented each other well.
Nice.
Yeah,
but he was the other dishwasher?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
There were other people that were fill-ins, and I'm pretty sure that at one point that we had at least one other person who was a regular, but really it was just me and him for the most part. And Jesus Christ, if there's someone out there who I'm forgetting, I'm really sorry, but
yeah.
I swear to God, we were the only ones. We basically had the bulk of the hours on this.
You were running the show in the dish pit,
right? And there were, there were family members of some of the bakers, and oh no, that's right. There definitely was a morning dishwasher, who mostly just did stuff with the bakers, and I'm sorry for forgetting about you, my friend. But I will not name them. But
that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, Sean and me were basically the nighttime dishwashers for the most part. Yeah, it was great, man. Apart from having to do some of the daytime dishes,
yeah, I mean, this is always the thing, right?
Well, no, this is the thing is, and I'm not trying to throw any bakers under the bus here, because I love all of the bakers that worked at this place. They were my fucking family. But occasionally someone would forget about some fucking caramel in a pan.
Yeah.
And there's an inch of fucking caramel in a copper pan with a wooden spoon just fucking stuck in it.
Just standing upright.
Yeah, and they're just figure it out. And I'm like, cool, this is gonna soak in soapy water for literal ever until I quote unquote forget about it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully somebody else will fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
If the caramel hasn't magically dissolved overnight, but
yeah.
I got actual dishes to wash, Jesus Christ, I got plates for people to eat off of. This can sit here and rot for all I care. But I got to know some of the crew, and they were super fucking chill, and turned me on to some good music, and every now and then, somebody'd fuck up on a cocktail, and it's oh, I'm not gonna fucking throw this away, and so it just ends up in a fucking coffee cup, and it just kind of finds its way onto the shelf that's behind me.
That's all right.
Next to the stereo, and
yep.
Someone pats me on the shoulder to let me know that it's there.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do?
Man, and this is the real fucking jam when you talk about working in restaurants. Which is why a lot of people will continue to do it, because there's restaurant jobs that I've had and even service industry, like kind of as a larger umbrella, is where you meet some of the best people. You meet good friends, and there's some real camaraderie because it is you versus the customers, and every day it's like you suit up for like. It's us versus them, dude.
Once more into the breach, my friends.
Yep, totally. And, and you do look out for each other if you're in a good place.
Absolutely.
There are certainly those toxic environments that are impossible, but like...
And I feel like places go through phases sometimes, too.
But I sort of get the pie in the sky, grass is greener idea of just like, man, I could just go back and work back a house restaurant again and just like... Just do it. It's like the work sucks and the pay is even worse. But man, you get that like camaraderie. You get off late. Y'all go out together. Y'all go party together. You just and everyone's fucking there for each other. And there's just this real fucking like we're just propping each other up because we're all fucking scrapping is what it is.
Absolutely,
too,
it's fucking shared trauma, man.
Yes, dude, it is.
That's what it is.
Yep.
And that's both why I love it and hate it. Because, like, we're all just fucking abused kids fucking propping each other up while we fucking deal with the slings and arrows because we've got this fucking thick skin and, like, we can deal with it. And we're making good money doing it. But, like, that's that whole fucking industry is like... It's worth it to me to deal with this abuse because of the money that I'm making.
And I think about this all the time, like... going out to eat and seeing people going out to eat who have probably never worked service industry a day in their life, just not even realizing that like a quarter of the back of the house is probably on coke right now. Like the other quarter of the house is hungover from doing coke the whole night before. That these people are all just like fucking wild ass people that you just have no idea, and they're bringing your fish taco, and you're just like, wow, that's a really good taco, and it's just like, dude,
you get to see them for this little fucking sober or mildly or completely unsober window of their day, but this is this weird little phase for them while they go off on their fucking chaotic existence.
Totally. Yeah, I won't co-op this. I'll tell my dishwashing story another time, but it will parallel a lot of this. I'm sure of it. So.
Yeah, man, and like. I gotta say, there's something to be said for just having your own space in the restaurant that nobody fucks with.
The dish pit is my fucking shit, dude. Yeah, and it's dirty and stinky, but it's mine.
Yeah, you get to listen to your own fucking music. Like you're not dealing with anybody else. It's just like, and like. If it's a good place, everyone's kowtowing to you and like making sure that you're happy because you're the one who makes sure that they've got all of their shit.
Everything runs on you. Because like if the dishes aren't up, then they can't serve the thing and get the tips and fucking totally.
It's the lowest person on the totem pole is the one that everyone fucking relies on.
In a good place, it is how that works. In a bad place, the people yell at you all the time because they want the shit from you, and it's like, well. And then you get a little bit of a power grab, and you get to be like, well, I'll get you your plates when they're fucking ready.
Yeah, my first dishwashing job was like that, where everyone's just yelling at me because there's not enough plates. And I'm like, I don't have any fucking plates.
Yeah.
I'm not a busboy.
Yeah, and the more you yell at me, the slower these plates are going to get to you. Yeah. So I don't care. I don't have to talk to that customer. So
yeah, I would look at the cooks when the plates showed up and just like look at them while I'm spraying them off. Just like, yeah, I know I've got the only plates in the kitchen right now. Yep. You're the one who just yelled at me for not having any. So guess I'm gonna hang on to them for a minute.
I'm gonna make sure they're real clean.
Exactly. Yeah. Fuck you, dude.
Totally.
But yeah, this was definitely a good shop and like just a strong fucking crew. Like I miss so many of those fucking people. Like, man.
No, and when you get those like perfect crews together where everyone's just like, we're all firing on all cylinders, we're all getting along, it's just like that job environment can be so fun because the shifts go really fast.
Right.
And you're just like, sick, dude. We just like rocked out like all this shit. A bunch of people are happy. They left drunk and full and like, yeah, and then now we get to go party.
Exactly. Yeah. When we started doing this thing where like at the end of the night, we'd fucking clean the place top to bottom. Like I would fucking just dial in the floors out front while everybody was like counting their money, because it used to be that the servers had to fucking mop the floor, but like they did a terrible fucking job. And like I would get talked to because they're just like, hey, like, you know, there's a bunch of footprints on the floor, can you make sure that like you're not walking all over it after you mop? And I'm like, well, the servers did it for me. Oh, really? Like, oh, I'm like, oh, don't worry, I'll make sure that it gets done.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, maybe they were just doing it to be nice because I was so fucking slow in the beginning. Like, this is just dawning on me now. It's like, oh, all right. But yeah, like, I would just fucking dial it in, and then we would, we had this ritual where whoever was turning off the alarm, or sorry, setting the alarm, would say, okay, I'm setting the alarm now. And then the other person would say, okay, so the alarm is set. Because it got to the point where, like, you know, you do the same thing day in, day out. Like, we'd leave the fucking store and it's like, did I set the alarm?
Right.
I don't fucking know.
No. Yeah, you need that check.
Even though, like, we could hear it beeping as we left the fucking building, it's like, maybe, you know, like, I don't know.
Totally.
But when you vocalize it, it cements itself a lot better. So like we'd go through this ritual, and like we would then go outside and like camp out at one of the picnic tables from one of the restaurants next door, and like one of us would have gone to the mini mart and have gotten a 6-pack, or you know, like a couple of little like box wines or whatever, like whatever anybody wanted. And then we'd sit out there and we'd have some fucking drinks at the end of the night. You know? It was beautiful. We'd smoke weed, smoke cigarettes, you know, like just chill out for like an hour after work and shoot the shit before we all went our separate ways. And like half of us would all ride bikes home together.
Hell yeah.
And I tell you
beautiful.
What, in the summertime, it was like, it felt like you were in the Goonies. Like, just fucking little kids riding your bikes across town.
Little wine buzz, 2 in the morning,
dude.
Warm out.
Little fucking joint, you know, like, oh, it was just magical, dude.
Yeah, no, nothing beats that shit, dude, for sure.
It was so great. And like, we lived in Southeast, and this place was practically in St. John's, so like,
dang. So yeah, it was a long haul.
You know, like, depending on who you're talking about, it was like 5, 6, maybe even 7 miles that we had to ride. And like I said, in the summertime, fucking pure magic. Like, didn't matter how far it was. And like, we also knew other bartenders, so like sometimes we'd stop on the way home and you know, just slip in and out of a blackout a little bit before we get back on the bike, you know. It was fine. But yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't trade that shit for the world, dude. It was, especially for someone who'd been having such a hard time, like, trying to find my place, like, even just having that shitty fucking working class job was just such a fucking boon, you know? Like, it got me into some new social circles, like, turned me on to some new music, so got me into some good food and some good drinks, and just really kind of rejuvenated my whole vibe, you know? It was,
hell yeah.
It was fucking great.
Nah, that shit rules, man. Yeah, and those jobs will absolutely do that for you, you know? Like, at the end of the day, they don't pay you well, and you get sort of frustrated with them because they're not advancing you in the world. But man, you'll have a real good social time, you know?
Absolutely. And I feel like that really needs to be something that people need to recognize as valuable more than they do, you know? Like, it's not something that you're going to get in every workplace, and it's not something that every workplace can provide, but when you have it, that needs to be fucking celebrated. And also, it's something that people should try to cultivate more, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. And this is like the real difference between those kinds of jobs and then office jobs, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, boy, I'll tell you, working an office job, like, my number one goal is just, like, keep my head down, don't talk to anyone, not trying to befriend any of them, because it's not like that kind of place, you know?
Right.
And then you get all this like crummy stuff with like HR doing these just like dumb little things for everyone, and it's like, you know what, I don't care about gift baskets and little fun little contests you're trying to do and like dumb little fucking things you're trying to do. Like, I just don't fucking care about that. Pay me more. Just pay me more.
Meanwhile, in the restaurant industry, everyone's getting loaded and like
it's because you know that there's
sex.
It's because you know there's nothing like better on the other. There's nothing like better for you like there, right? It's like whatever your job is like you're capped out.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no like level 2, level 3 senior position. Like
No.
I guess maybe there's like a manager, like an assistant manager position
but
in your
anybody
future.
who's smart
maybe.
realizes that that's just fucking less money for more stress, you know?
100%, right? Yeah, and so those jobs just have a purity to them where it's just like we all know that this is the worst.
Yep.
So we're all in it together, and let's just make it the best it can be.
Yeah.
While we're here doing it.
Exactly.
Yep.
We'll enjoy some casual sexual harassment, and
dude,
we'll all get loaded together, and we'll enjoy our fucking Stockholm syndrome and fucking continue our fucking weird ass lives.
No, for real, man. Those those jobs are super interesting for that. But I've met some really, really good people.
Oh yeah,
through those jobs,
absolutely.
and some lifelong friends.
Oh, for sure. And the crazy thing too is like through this place I met like a bunch of like former employees who'd gone on to like do their own things, because of all of the fucking amazing amounts of learning that they'd had to do to like succeed in that fucking position, because like the owner was very demanding and was very demanding of your knowledge of of their products. And so you just really had to like eat, breathe, and sleep like all of the various booze and fucking crazy shit that they had there. And so like people went on to like start their own businesses and like do really well because they were incredibly knowledgeable. They'd been forged into these like great fucking they're already great servers or great chefs or like whatever it was that they were doing at that place, and like they'd just been forced into being like really fucking hard workers because of this fucking place. And so when they finally got their own place, it was just like shit, like we got this, And the crazy thing is like I've met other people who have worked with these folks who used to work at this place that I worked at, and they're just like, oh, these folks? And I'm like, yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, I came up with them. And I'm like, so Sean, the fucking dishwasher, right? And they're like, yeah, he's still fucking there. And I'm just like, yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Fucking reading back the screed together.
Yeah. It's just like fucking
man. Yeah, that's
some like old Portland lineage,
Yeah, that's great, and this town is so good for that because it is such a service industry town, and friend of the pod, previous guest Dan, when I moved out here, he had this joke, and it actually rang true back then. It was like, Portland's the place you can move to and be a part-time barista and play bass in 2 bands and make ends meet.
Exactly.
And it was just like it was, It's
it was
like it was this fucking little oasis where it's just like, yeah, man, I can just be out here, work at this restaurant, work at this coffee shop, part-time. I live with 5 people, but like whatever, and then I get to do my art projects and like go to Burning Man every year, and it's like, it's fucking sweet, dude.
Before Portlandia, like rent was cheap and you could just do whatever the fuck,
Yep. Yeah, things have changed, and I mean, I like to blame Portlandia because like that show sucks, but
well, it's also just an easy fucking dividing line.
It is, yeah, and it is like,
we were already blowing up before that.
We were, and it's a nice scapegoat to like have something to blame, but it's just kind of like been the natural progression.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing is true for Seattle and San Francisco. They just happened like
the same thing is
10
true
or 20 years before us.
Yeah, and the same thing is true as for Boise. I mean, like this is so fucked because I mean Ricky and I were talking. And have been talking for years of just like, what happens when we get priced out of here? What happens when inflation goes so much higher than what our jobs and our wages keep up with? Because that's just is what is happening.
Unless something changes, yeah.
And so I was just casually poking around. Not that I wanted to actually move to Boise, but I was poking around. I was like,
sure,
I've been to Boise. I like Boise. It's a fun little town. Like, honestly, it's pretty cool. And I was like, what do houses sell for there? And it's like, $350,000 for like a 2-bedroom family home.
The same as Oregon?
Yeah, just like so like Boise's already priced out. Like yeah, so it's not Portlandia's fault. It's everywhere, man. Like there's just nowhere that is good
anywhere
anymore.
That's that doesn't suck. Pretty much.
Totally. Yeah, and so
God damn it.
It is what it is, man. But like, at least Portland is still like a way cool service industry town. So
Fucking it.
For those of you when you come here, fucking treat your folks nice, tip them well,
absolutely,
and definitely enjoy the fruits of what we have here. Because god damn it rules. Like, we have it's a real luxury just having so much good food and service here. Great fucking bars.
Yeah.
Great just spots.
I take it for granted every time I leave, and then I'm like, I get to another city that's like supposed to be cool, and I'm like, oh, TGI Fridays? Like, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, 100%.
I thought you guys were cool.
Being back in Colorado, like, I completely forgot how franchise did it. Every single thing.
God damn it.
And, I mean, it's just like, where are the local places? Where's the food carts? Where's the little spots, dude? Like,
it's fucking criminal.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But, I don't mean to digress too much.
No, totally. Yeah, we're wandering off the path here.
But yeah, so, like, got this dishwashing job, didn't suck, like, was enjoying all the perks. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, the owner made Jell-O shots for a private event and, like, trimmed a bunch of, like, the hard edges off of these massive fucking sheet pans of Jell-O shots that were being made, and, like, just said they were up for grabs.
Hell yeah.
Didn't even say you should take them home and eat them. Figured that was implied. I personally assumed that wasn't included because, they assumed that the dishwashers weren't necessarily going to be impaired by that. So, I might have had a good Jell-O shot buzz a couple of times.
Might have eaten a tray of Jell-O shots.
Or two. But, like, this is neither here nor there. I'm just saying it was really good. I really fucking enjoyed this dishwashing job.
Hell yeah.
Especially because, the person that I was very close to who got me hired was the manager and, like, had set up a really fucking great shop. But after a while, and I don't remember exactly how long it was, I want to say it was, like, at least 4 months, but probably not more than 6. They had an amazing opportunity come up, and they weren't necessarily being appreciated at this place, and so, unsurprisingly, made a move.
Yeah. And,
things changed after that. So, yeah, like, it was... And I'm having a hard time remembering exactly how it went down because I want to say that the outgoing manager didn't really have anything to do with the next one who was incoming.
Sure.
And I feel like that was kind of on the owner. Like, I feel like they were like, hey, I want to help you train this person so that they know what to expect from you and also so that you know that they can do the job. But I feel like they kind of had a chip on their shoulder because this person was leaving, and they kind of had like some disagreements which led up to them leaving. So it was just kind of like, no, I know what I'm doing. And I mean, like, you fucking plant the seeds, you fucking reap what you sow. So
yeah,
they didn't have any input on the hiring process and just kind of took the first bright star that they saw, I guess.
And didn't promote from within? Was no one, like, in the company capable of taking over this position?
This has been a very sore spot.
Yeah, it usually is.
Company.
It always is when they don't promote from within, because a bunch of people sit there and go like, what the fuck, man? Like, I could do this. And in fact, I'm going to have to train this person.
Yep.
Because I know this job.
Exactly. And so, this was a major issue, and thankfully I was just the fucking dish slut, so it didn't really matter. Like,
you're like, well, don't really have a fucking dogging this race.
Yeah,
so,
I'm fucking high out of my mind the whole night anyway. So like,
I just ate a pan of Jello shots.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. As long as I can still bust suds and like get out of here at a reasonable hour, like we're fine. You know,
right.
Not fucking making any tips anyway. So,
yeah,
like,
I'm still just trying to live my Goonies life here.
Exactly.
You know? drink a box of wine on the picnic table and have a ride home. Yeah,
just don't fucking rock the boat. I don't really know how to soften this, but the person they hired, his name was Rusty.
Okay.
And he spelled it Rustea.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his own concoction.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had very expensive shoes, which, you know, he was not afraid to let you know.
Like sneakerhead or like just nice loafers?
Oh, we're
like
talking
Armani,
about like Italian leather.
Shit. Okay,
like fucking, you know, super fucking pretentious leather shoes.
Wow, don't wear those to a restaurant.
I know, right? And, you know, like, love to wear a blazer over a shirt that had 3 buttons unbuttoned, you know, like... was a flamboyant gay man, but, like, also was, like, super crass and, like...
Yeah?
You know... what's the word? Inappropriate? Yeah. Like,
I have known the type. Yeah.
It was a little rough, and like he was also younger than me. You know, I'm 30, and I think he was like 26 or 28, something like that.
So he got hired on like personality and style.
Yeah, and I think a lot of lies about all of the places that he had managed before.
Padded his resume a bit.
Yeah, like, you know, like New York this, fucking Dallas that. And, like, I don't remember exactly where he was from, but I want to say it was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was the only place he'd ever worked. And, like, didn't really understand gay culture at all because...
And probably, like, big fish in a little pond there when you're, like, rocking that kind of style. And you're just, like, king shit of fuck mountain. Like, you know.
Had a lot of weird racist takes and stuff.
Ooh,
I'm definitely like getting ahead of myself.
Okay, yeah.
But you know, like, so you know, we're not privy to any of the meetings that they've had or anything. Like, I want to say that, like, old manager left, and there was like a little tiny bit of a gap where like the owner was just kind of like filling in.
Yep.
For like a couple of days or whatever while they finalize whatever the fuck this was, you know, and like then fucking Rusty shows up and you know, like does this whirlwind day of like tastings with the owner and like getting introduced to all the staff and like looking around and like saying, I just love your vision and like all this, that, and the other, and like, you know, at the end of this very long day, like, you know, the owner has taken off and like Rusty's ready to wind down and like he sits down at the end of the bar and just like, oh wow, oh god, what a day. And like one of the servers rolls up and it's just like, hey, you know, what can I get you? And like, mind you, this is after having been over the entire menu, like having tasted a lot of different things and seeing like everything that we have to offer.
Right.
This person's sitting at the bar looking at the shelf with all of the alcohol that we have, and the server says, what can I get for you? Like, do you want me to make you a cocktail? No, I'm sorry, didn't even say can I make you a cocktail, just says, well, you know, can I get you a drink? And he says, oh yeah, can you get me an Appletini?
Okay.
There is absolutely nothing at this bar that would give you the impression that we could make an Appletini.
Oh, really?
At all. Like, we don't have any flavored vodka. There's nothing simple. We don't have, like, triple sec. We don't have fucking flavored vodkas.
Because you're not a bar. You serve specialty cocktails.
Right.
So you have the ingredients for those.
Exactly.
But you can't get a rum and coke. You can't get a... Or, like, maybe...
I mean, like, I think we had a couple of rums, but it was, like, super expensive.
But you wouldn't order a rum and coke at this place.
No, it certainly wasn't on the menu.
You order off the menu.
Exactly. And like, you know, we specialized in things like, you know, fancy liqueurs and apero and like we had a like cognac and like
Right.
You know, it was a pretty narrow selection. And so one thing that we did have was Calvados, which is a brandy that's made from apples.
Okay.
But it's made in very much the same style as a cognac or some other type of French brandy.
Right.
And so it has literally no apple flavor.
It's not going to represent apples.
No.
Yeah.
But, you know, the server's like trying to help out, just like, you know, hey, like,
all right, we can't do an apple teeny.
Really do an apple teeny. And he's like, well, what? Like, you don't have anything like apple at all? And she's like, well, I mean, we have this apple brandy, but it's like not
what you're
really
looking for. Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, well, whatever, just like make me something with that. And so like she's like, well, I can't make a fucking martini with cognac. And like she's just like, no, I don't think that's what you want. And he's just like, oh, well, I don't know then, like. And she's just like, well, do you want a gin and tonic? And, like, just fucking makes him a G&T. And, like, he's just, like, fucking frumpy about it the whole fucking night.
Wow.
And so this sets the tone.
Uh-huh. This is day one.
Yeah, it's him having unrealistic expectations.
Or day zero, even. Because he's
zero.
only been wined and dined all day. He hasn't even, like, worked.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just been kind of like, here's what we do.
Uh-huh.
And so he has unrealistic expectations because he hasn't bothered to do any kind of he hasn't even paid attention. And then gets upset when he can't get what he wants.
His rock star drink in Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. Oh god, and he really wanted
which, like, yeah, in Oklahoma, if you're at the place that makes the Appletini, you're at the fancy place.
Well, right. And I'm sure, like, all of, like, you know, every bar that he'd been to,
or the good Applebee's, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like, fuck, who knows what his deal was? That motherfucker, he had a lot of issues, and, like, I'm not, you know, not here to defend him, but, like, piece of work.
Okay.
So yeah, that, you know, that set the tone, and for the first week that he was the manager, his nickname was Appletini.
Yup.
Because that just, it was like, yeah, this Appletini motherfucker with his $1,000 shoes is gonna fucking drive me fucking crazy.
Also, welcome to the service industry, because there is a hazing thing that will happen no matter how cool you are.
Absolutely.
You're gonna get a nickname that first week.
Right.
You just hope it's one that was fun.
And so his whole first week, he's just blowing smoke up everybody's asses. Just like, man, you are so great. Just like, thank you for having my back and for blah, blah, blah. Just fucking sweet talking everybody that he likes, right?
Which, like, never flies in these kinds of jobs, because everyone's already, like, just dubious anyway. They're just like, okay, cool.
And he's made it apparent that he doesn't know what the fuck that he's doing.
And I get, like, smoke blown up my ass by customers and other people all day. So, like, okay,
right.
Cool.
Like, we all get what you're doing, man. And, like, then there were other people that he just didn't have the time of day for. And it's like, well, okay, well, this is obvious, you know.
Like, so he's, like, playing favorites while also doing his weird, like, softening people up and shit.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
And, you know, it's just this, he's creating drama.
A tale as old as time.
Yep. And so, like, you know, after a week or so of this, you know, he starts doing these weird little things where he's, like, probing me, you know, like, because the manager's desk was about 12 feet away from the dish pit, which was a weird setup.
That is a weird move, but,
you know, like, it just, the manager and the dishwasher almost always ended up shooting the shit at some point, because, like, because
you're right there.
Yeah, there's slack time, it's
Downtime.
like, whatever, it's like, you know, did you see this fucking show last week, or whatever, you know, it's just like, you know, let's fucking... I'm waiting for the dishwasher to finish. We both made eye contact. Let's fucking say something.
We'll engage.
Yeah. And so, you know, like, eventually, like, he and I start talking, and, like, you know, he knows that I was in tight with the other manager and that I fucking know most of the people, and, like, you know, he starts, like, dropping these little bon mots, like, oh god, I swear to god, if I could just fucking fire everyone and start over, I would, you know, and, like, I wish everybody was as solid as you, and, like, just, like, red flags. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. There is nothing more dangerous than a manager who walks into a place and thinks that they just need to fire everyone
and tries to like instill dissent
run it their way. Yeah, it's like,
because what's he gonna get out of you of just hoping for like, yeah, man, I agree, and then it's like, nah, man, I've been working with all these people, man. Like,
I don't fucking know. I honestly think he just had no idea like how things work. Like,
I mean, it sounds like he was 25 with $1,000 shoes, man. I don't know what kind of person that is, but it's a person who doesn't know how like shit works. So
yeah, well, and like I don't know, like we'll get into what I think his hustle actually was in a minute. But yeah, so you know, like he's kind of like trying to befriend, you know, some people while like creating schisms with others and like also playing people against each other. Like,
right,
he would do weird shit like, you know, pick up someone's tips and like forget about it for a minute.
What?
So that they thought that the other server who was on the floor like picked up
like
their shit,
pocketed their tips.
Yeah, and then like wouldn't say anything about it and like,
let it sort of build up,
let it simmer for a while, and just be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, I bust this table for you. Like, I meant to put it in your cup and just like got distracted. You know, like shit like that."
But it felt intentional too.
Yeah,
it was
like fuck. He could have just been pocketing people's tips too. Like, I don't fucking know.
Sounds like
you
that
know, like,
could have been happening.
It was fucking sketchy. And so like,
because you don't buy $1,000 shoes just, you know, being a manager at a restaurant typically. So
I mean, no,
like,
no way. Not especially not with the amount of inexperience that this dude was just oozing. You know,
right.
So anyway, like time goes on. Like I don't remember exactly how long it was, but you know, we're still doing our usual shtick where like, you know, at the end of the night we're out back at the picnic table, like fucking just shooting the shit and then riding our bikes home, and like, you know, eventually he comes into the awareness that this is a thing that we do. And this is nothing that he can control because it's not on company property. Like, we've locked everything up. We're done for the night. But he starts calling people, like, while we're out there. And, like, you know, just checking in and stuff. And then, you know,
what do you mean checking in?
You know, just being like, yeah, oh, hey, did this get done? And, like...
Oh,
you know, like
post-work shit?
Yeah, and
no,
like, we're already locked up and like the alarm's set and stuff. Like, so you know,
we clocked out.
Yeah, well, and
while ago.
We just started realizing that we just can't answer the phone when he calls. You know, because otherwise it's just going to be some weird like control-y kind of bullshit. You know, and it's like, whatever. We're already riding our bikes home. Don't answer it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can text him tomorrow and be like, oh, hey, sorry I missed your call.
I bet you know? You all got, like, tons of laughs out of that, too. Just sitting around fucking being like, guess who's calling?
Yep, exactly. And there was a couple of times where he'd just call me, and then he'd call the next person.
Jesus.
And, you know.
But he's, like, not in the building either?
No, sometimes he wasn't even there that night. You know?
He's
it's like he's been clocked out for hours, and like we were the ones closing the shop.
But just like, just wanted to make sure that you filled the ice machine.
Yep, that kind of shit. You know, like, did you turn off the coffee maker? And it's like,
what?
Of course I did. I'm the one who told you that people need to do that. You fucking doofus. Like, what type of shit is this?
Whoa.
You know? And,
okay.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, this guy's obviously not our friend. He's trying to foment fucking unrest. You know, like, we all fucking saw this. Like, none of us were taken in by this. You know, it was just kind of like bad gas travels fast in a small town. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all smelled it coming. So like. There was no illusions. Like, we knew it was up.
No, and this shit never flies, especially with tight-knit crews, man. It's just like, okay.
Come on now, man. You're going to try to walk into our shop and shake shit out? I don't think so. You know, and like, testament to the crew that, you know, had been built, you know. So, you know, like, I could go on about the mistakes that he made and the dumbass shit that he did, and like how he demonstrated that he was never suited for the job and probably lied about the previous places that he had worked.
Just got in on charisma.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But honestly, nothing will compare to the night that he God, God, what the fuck was he even doing? I think that he had done like some kind, like he was supposed to go to some kind of an industry party or something after work, and so he'd like clocked out early and like took off and was with his like weird ass boyfriend and shit. And at some point he called one of the servers who was working. I don't remember if it was before or after we were closed, but I think he had either bought weed from homie or like I think it was just that he had bought weed that day and had it in his jacket and had left it at work and knew that he was going to see homie later because he was supposed to go to this party. And so he hits him up and that's right, it was before work, before we closed, when he hit him up and was just like, oh hey, I forgot my weed, it's in my jacket, can you bring my jacket when you come to the thing? And he's like, that's no problem, but like we usually do a little thing after we close, so it's going to be a minute, but I will definitely come to the thing. And so he gets another call while we're still closing, and it's just like, hey, just wanted to check in and like see where that's at. And it's like, man, when we close, I told you that like I'm gonna be doing a thing after we close, so it's gonna be a minute.
And also, like, this person just thinks that dude's worried about his jacket. He doesn't realize that there's weed in it.
Oh no, he has definitely told him that there is weed in the jacket.
Okay, so he knows dude wants his weed.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But he's also made it clear that like he's not going to sacrifice this after hours to run over there.
Right,
like,
no, because
he's definitely going to have a beer or two.
Yeah.
And then come and hang out.
Yeah.
And like he should
I'll
wait.
get it to you when I get it to you.
Right?
Yeah.
And there was like a couple of folks who were like coworkers who weren't working that night, who were just kind of hanging out at the end of the night. This didn't happen that often, but like occasionally it did, and it wasn't a big deal. Like usually they'd help us clean up, and then we'd lock up the store and like all have drinks outside, like no big deal. I swear, I'm pretty sure even the owner knew about this kind of thing, and like it wasn't encouraged or necessarily sanctioned, but it also wasn't a big deal, and like had been witnessed by management, like was a gray area, but certainly not anything that anyone was going to get in trouble for.
Right.
And so like this was all known, and like we eventually got outside. We'd locked we'd set the alarm, we'd locked the store, and we're sitting out there having drinks, and homie gets another call like, hey, just checking in to see where you're at with that. And he's like, yeah, like, don't worry, I'm still coming. And like not too long after that, I swear it wasn't more than 15 minutes, like, which is what makes it so fucking odd. We hear the alarm go off. And we're like, what the fuck? Did someone just break into the building?
Right.
And so we're like, what the fuck should we do? Should we just fucking bail? Because, like,
yeah, right.
We're sitting on the patio of another restaurant, but it's adjacent, and like, we don't want to be involved with whatever's going on. But we're also too fucking curious. So,
and also bailing is maybe a bad look.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, against our better judgment, we just kind of, like, creep around the corner and, like, start looking in the windows to see if we can see anyone. And who do you think that we see?
Oh, man. The glint of a fucking leather shoe catches your eye.
Well, I should mention, like, I meant to mention this sooner. Like, his name went from Appletini to just Teabag.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Because he spelled it T-E-A.
Yeah, oh, man, you're just asking for it then.
Yeah, and so we're like, oh, shit, that's fucking Teabag.
Oh, Teabag's in there. Oh, no, dude.
And so we're like, what the fuck is actually going on right now? And so, like...
And he should have the code. So why did he set off the alarm?
Oh, yeah. Like, we're just like... this is wild as hell, but we're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
so, like,
we're in here.
We fucking scooch back to the fucking picnic table to reconnoiter and, like, plan our next move. And we're just like, okay, so the cops are coming, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, the alarm's going off, so, like...
But, like, you guys... I mean, also, like, drinking beer at a picnic table, like, you guys aren't doing anything, right? Even if it is another restaurant's property, who gives a shit? It's whatever in the morning, and
we were too drunk to think that we should probably just pound the beers and get rid of the evidence and then see what happens.
I mean, at least put the alcohol away, maybe, but, like, also whatever.
Yeah, and we're just like, if the cops show up, like, we can still slip away through the alley or whatever, so, like, we kind of got ready to go, but, like, still had beers out.
Yeah. Why not?
Exactly. And so,
well, you're doing the less of the crime right now.
Like someone's going to jail. It's definitely not us.
You having a beer in your hand at whatever in the morning. Yeah, it ain't gonna be your problem.
They might ask us to dump it out and get the fuck out.
Sure.
Like, no one gives a shit. And so like having recognized this, we're just kind of like, what the fuck? And so eventually, Rusty comes out the back and he's like, well, I just had to talk to the cops. And we're like, really? You don't say? That's wild. He's like, yeah, like, I guess I set the alarm off coming into the store. And we're like, oh, we thought we heard something. That's crazy. And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to get my weed. And homie's like, oh, you mean from this jacket that I've got right here?
That I told you I was going to bring you in like 20 minutes?
Exactly. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, like, I forgot, like, and I was just, like, antsy, and, like, I just wanted to come get my weed, so I just came and let myself inside, and I couldn't remember the code, so, like, the cops...
So I just set the shit off and, like, deal with it?
Yeah, and so, like, the cops call his phone, right? Because he's the manager.
Uh-huh.
And either they didn't fucking realize that the fucking sirens were going off in the background on his phone or whatever, but he was just like, oh yeah, it must be a false alarm, and like, so they wrote it off as a false alarm. And like,
Jesus,
he basically, so he came back there, he got his weed, like, we all fucking went our separate ways.
Have a good one, T-Bag.
Right. And then the next day, like, he talks to the owner, and they're like, what the fuck happened? And he's like, oh, it was this false alarm, I took care of it.
Oh, yeah, because they would have gotten a report or
exactly.
something.
And they were like, God damn it, like, this fucking alarm company, like, they keep having all these false alarms, like, this has been a really serious problem. Thank you for dealing with this.
No.
And, like, gave him, like, a bunch of gift certificates. And,
what?
Like, yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
No, okay, I'm mad at that.
Oh.
Like, a little bit of praise is one thing, but, like, gift cards, showering him with gift cards and shit, I'm just like, good.
Just like, this is, like, you've only been on the job for, like, 3-4 weeks. I don't even fucking remember what it was. It couldn't have been more than 2 or 3 weeks. And just, like, you've already, like, done me such a fucking service. Like, oh. And so,
dude,
while he's got all this shit going down, meanwhile, one of the coworkers who was, like, staying late, who wasn't on the job, just, like, hanging out and drinking and, like, helped us close up and was out back with us, she's working the next morning.
Uh-huh.
And, like, we're all friends with the bakers and shit. Like, they're cool. And so she's just shooting the shit. She's like, you would not believe what fucking went down last night. Like, oh my God. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking serious? That's crazy. And, she's friends with the head baker, who is kind of a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, God bless her, she fucking hated Rusty. And, like,
sounds like everyone did.
Yeah,
so.
and she's just like, he did what? And, like, almost broke her leg trying to fucking run to the phone to call the owner. And it's just like,
well, if she's head baker, that means she's basically, like, second in line. Like, that's
exactly
as fuck.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, hell no. Like, this guy's been ruining my fucking life since he showed up. Like, fuck, you mean to tell me he's fucking pulling one over? Like, fuck that. And so,
oh, man,
got on the horn with the owner and was like, yeah, here's what really went down. And they were like, what the fuck? I just gave him all these fucking gift certificates and shit. Showered him with praise. Like, you mean to tell me? Like, ah!
Did they tell him the whole story that he was coming for not a jacket but weed?
I don't know. I honestly don't know how much of the story was edited, but definitely
that adds a bit to it. Well, and honestly, even if you say it's a jacket, it almost puts more suspicion on it.
I honestly don't think that the baker included that. They might have, but like, I'm pretty sure they were just like, hey, you know that fucking quote unquote false alarm?
Right.
That was actually just him being a dumbass.
Set off by him rolling through here after hours for whatever.
Just came back to get his fucking coat and couldn't remember the alarm. Yeah.
On a day he wasn't working?
Yeah. And it's like, what the fuck? And so, yeah, like, once that conversation went down, the owner fucking called him up and fired him on the spot.
Hot damn.
And was just like, hell the fuck no. How dare you lie to me?
Whoa.
Yeah. But.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much the main reason why I'm not, like, naming anything here.
Fair.
Is because
only key players like Teabag.
Well, yeah, I mean, fuck that guy. He can rot for all I care. He's a piece of shit.
Clearly.
And I mean, the owner absolutely abused me, but like, you know, Stockholm Syndrome. But I'm saying, like, so they fired him, but they didn't actually do anything else apart from saying, "You're fired."
I see.
So he walked
so he
into...
still had access to the codes and had keys and...
Oh, buddy, yeah.
Right, if he's a manager, he's got access to everything.
Yep. And so... Actually, no, I'm sorry, I'm fucking this up. She called him in to the store.
Okay.
And had a sit-down meeting where she told him, "You're fired, get the fuck out," and made him give her the keys and stuff.
Okay, so he turned in keys.
But didn't actually change any of the passwords on any accounts or anything like that right away.
Yeah.
And, you know, to her credit, he wasn't supposed to have any kind of withdrawal privileges. But he walked into the bank, and there just so happened to be a new person working as a teller that day. And he withdrew $10,000.
On the business account?
And just walked the fuck out.
Because he had fucking the business account numbers?
That's right.
Because he would do deposits and stuff.
Absolutely. He definitely had deposit privileges.
Holy fucking Christ balls.
Yeah. He just walked his ass in there and walked out with 10 fucking grand.
It was like, I'm teabag, double middle fingers, and like...
Yep.
Where do you... And then like...
Dust in the fucking wind,
and then
bro.
Gone?
Yeah.
Because Rusty with a TEA is not his real name.
I mean, it's a name that he chose, a name that he went by, and maybe he had a legal name change.
Well, whatever. He had to fill out legal paperwork, so your owner had his real name, whatever it was.
Sure, absolutely.
But he's just gone?
I assume that he has since been arrested, but...
But you don't know that?
The only things that I know, because the owner certainly wasn't going to fucking tell us about it, was that one of the people who worked at this place was actually his neighbor at the time, just randomly. Like, they just happened to live in the same complex, and she actually lived next door to his apartment. The cops were fucking beating on his fucking door, and like no one answered. So they knocked on her door, and they were just like, "Have you seen this person?" And she's like, "No, but I know the deal."
Yeah, but I know what's going on with this whole thing. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about a slow burn. This is not where I thought this story was going, dude.
I know. I totally set this shit up.
Fucking Christ. Okay, my head's real. I'm swimming right now. Okay. So, dude fucking jacks 10 grand out of the bank account.
Yep.
He just... Okay. Was that the most he could deposit, or did he make a calculated decision?
I'm pretty sure he was just rolling the dice to see if he could even do it.
Just see?
Yeah. And it turns out it was a perfect fucking storm. And, like, The bit that I did get from one of the bakers who had talked to the owners, it's just like that poor woman was in tears and just like, I'm so sorry. Like,
at the bank.
Yeah, like it was I know it was a mistake, and like,
well, look,
because the owner went in and was like, fucking, I demand to speak to the person,
Well, blah, here's blah, blah. The thing, like, I mean, if he's got the credentials, like, if he
didn't though, like, he was only authorized for deposits. I'm sorry, no, he did have the credentials. You're right, he did have the credentials.
He must.
It's just, he was not flagged for withdrawal.
He hadn't been flagged yet.
Yeah. One would never be flagged for withdrawal privileges. Like, that was never going to be a thing that he could do. He was just supposed to be able to make deposits.
Oh, so it was a bank fuck up.
Absolutely.
On top of everything.
Yeah. Is that covered by the FDIC?
I don't know.
I don't know either. And there's
probably... One would assume, but I don't know.
There's probably some sort of victims compensation or the equivalent for businesses, maybe.
At the very least, it's just the bank's fucking fault,
Before I speculate on, like, how they got out of this at all. So it was a bank... So this teller fucking... I don't know how that even works in modern fucking society, dude. Dude just walks in and is like, here's an account number. I'm going to need to withdraw $10,000. And they were just like, that doesn't seem like a problem to me.
Well, and I think he even had like a card, like a card for the account, just so that he could like make deposits.
That's a little bit on your owner to not fucking cancel that shit right away, dude.
Well, and like, who knows? This was in 2008, so like maybe he didn't have a card back then. I'm speculating based on what I know of bank accounts now. Like,
so if he was a manager, he had access to enough things, so he probably prepared for this. Is what I'm guessing. So he had account numbers, maybe even...
He definitely had an account number.
Maybe even, like, rubbings of card numbers. Maybe even, like...
Definitely, like...
Oh, man.
Could have taken a picture of a check at some point and just had,
Right. Yeah, so he would
But, I mean, like, fuck, he probably just went in there often enough that, like... well, fuck no, because it was only a few weeks. So.
But then if it was a new teller, then how does that even...
No, and that doesn't even enter in the equation. Like, it was just somebody who was dumb enough to fucking believe his bullshit.
Yeah, but like, oh man, he had to have had it worked out, because even with a dumb as rocks brand new teller, there's still like checks and balances for this, even in 2008.
Yeah,
where you have to have numbers and authentication and stuff to just be like, how's 10 grand? How do I just walk out with 10 grand and they're just like, that's not a problem.
Back then, you could still just fill out a withdrawal slip.
You could.
As long as as long as all the numbers were straight, like...
Right, and that's what I'm thinking. So he must have cataloged some stuff while he was there prepping for this moment.
At the very least, just had enough info,
That is... fucking bananas, dude.
But also could have just been getting it set up for like a scam moment like that. Yeah, because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. So,
and making like full judgments on people with $10,000 shoes and Appletini drinking fucking assholes.
Yep.
And like weed obsessed people who are like, I couldn't wait another 20 minutes for
my God,
weed.
Right? Like I had to come break into the store because I was so drunk that I forgot that someone was bringing my weed.
So I'm going to make a lot of like character assassination assumptions about these kinds of people, but I've met literally this kind of person probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and those people, they are scammers at heart, and they prepare for these things because they're usually compulsive liars. They're usually fucking just totally fucked in the head, and they usually ready themselves for these moments when the whole fucking house of cards that they've built around them comes tumbling down, and then they have a fucking out. This dude planned to steal $10,000 when this whole shit came down, dude.
Yep. No, I hadn't thought about it from this angle before, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, man.
He was a compulsive liar. He was a schemer. He was a scammer.
Literally, like, you only gave me cursory description of this person, and I'm like, oh, I know this person. I've met this person.
Yep.
And they have these qualities. Like, I've seen this shit before, and they usually do this kind of shit. And sometimes they get away with it, and sometimes they don't. This dude got away with $10,000. Wait, so okay.
For a certain amount of time, I'm sure that he...
But you have no follow-up on this?
I don't... Like, the owner wasn't... I mean...
Well, she was probably legally requested to not, like, talk about this.
Well, right, because this is grand larceny. Like, this is an FBI level case.
That's big.
You know,
it's
or
big.
Department of Justice. But, like...
Sure, yeah.
You know, like, it's a federal crime.
Right. Right. Oh, my God. Man.
Yeah. It was wild as shit.
That is fucking batshit. Okay. All right, well, bring us home a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe I'll find another question. How did the business survive, though? Because it sounds like you had a cool place, and it sounds like your owner was cool and like didn't deserve that.
The silver lining is that, you know, like after that, the owner was a lot more open about the hiring process and wanted more input. Wanted everyone to meet the people that she was interviewing.
You don't say.
And, you know, eventually settled on someone who had the same name as the previous manager. And
shit.
Yeah, and, like, you know, was perfectly reasonable. And
the previous manager.
Yeah,
I was thinking, like, how do you hire another Rusty?
No,
like,
the one before Rusty.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And you know, it was like, okay, like, I mean, Jesus Christ, yeah, I mean, like, I guess you want another one of those. So, like, but the
$10,000 didn't tank the business. They're
still fuck no.
I mean, they were very lucrative.
It was going to be fine anyway, and I'm pretty sure, like, they were never going to be held liable for that, since it was absolutely the bank's fault, and, like, Rusty shouldn't have been able to withdraw that money ever.
Shit, man.
Because the only person who was supposed to be able to withdraw money from that account was the owner, period. So
wow.
But yeah, so I honestly didn't have a whole lot of time under the next manager, because I just, you know, like, because of all of this turmoil, like, the owner started spending a little more time with the staff and just, you know, like, kind of kibitzing with us, because we were just like, you don't know what we had to fucking deal with this motherfucker.
Everything starts coming out of the woodwork and just like, well, you want to know about this fucking guy? Yeah.
And so, like, you know, like, one night her and her boyfriend are sitting at the bar, and, like, you know, I just come in to work, and I'm, like, pouring sweat. And, like, you know, I like, just kind of throw my coat in the back and, like, pound, like, 3 fucking pints of water, and I'm just like, whew, yeah, it's cool. I got, like, 15 minutes before my shift. I'm just gonna sit here and, like, drink water, let my body cool down. And they're like, Jesus, dude, where'd you just come from? I'm like, oh, I just rode my bike to work. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's like 7.5 miles. And they're like, whoa, dude, you've been doing that all winter? And I'm like, yeah, it's a little tough. And they're like, well, you know, we've got a serving position open at the other location. And I'm like, wait, really? And I'd met everybody over there, especially the manager, and I was just like, they are so fucking dope. Like, I love these folks. But at that point, I'd actually never been front of the house. Like, I'd only been back of the house staff, like kitchen, dishwashing kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know, like, I've never done that before. And they're like, oh, well, let me know. Like, we definitely need to find someone, like, this weekend. Dang. And I'm like, okay. And so I called her back later that night, and I was just like, hey, like, I'm sorry, I just felt like I was kind of on the spot, but, like, I'm definitely interested. You know, it's just I don't have any experience. And she's like, well, you know the delivery driver, right? And I'm like, Ben? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking know Ben. And she's like, well, they just moved him up to server. And I'm like,
you're like,
if fucking Ben can do it, I can do it.
It sounds like a dish boy could do this.
Exactly. And, like, not trying to throw too much shade on Ben.
No.
He was so high that he would just fucking leave entire crates at the other store. Like, just be like, oh shit, I guess I gotta go back and get that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Dude.
I was like, man, if this asshole can fucking do it, like I will have zero problems.
Hell yeah.
And turns out I fucking shone in that fucking place. Like,
Yeah?
I miss it, man. Like,
That's where you got all your front of house server experience.
oh, absolutely. I mean, like, it's where I got the polish.
Yeah.
I got the fucking like trenches at Shandong, but like,
Right.
I learned all the finer points at this place.
Hell yeah. Damn, man. I want to know. Okay. So to tie this all up, do you have anything more to
I mean, really, I just wanted to tell you all that Rusty stole $10,000.
Yeah.
From a piece of shit.
Yeah. Okay. And this is what I need to know more about. And I know some of the people that you worked with there.
Absolutely.
So we need to get in contact and just see if anyone does have any follow-up. I want to know if he did get busted, man. Or did he just, like, flee to fucking Mexico or, like, move back to Oklahoma or what? Dude?
There is, like, absolutely no way that he did not get busted for this. And I want to say that, like, I heard from someone somewhere that he fucking did, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
But, like, this guy was way too shitty and dumb to ever fucking pull this off. This was just some fucking backhanded bullshit that he pulled because he didn't fucking care anymore. And he's
Dude.
fucking probably, like...
Oh, man.
You know, had to fucking face the music for other shit before, too. Like, I don't know.
Could be. I just want to know, man. Oh, man. That's so wild. Well, fucking A, dude. Shoot your shot, you know?
Right? And like, Jesus, dude, like $10,000 is just such not a big amount of money. Like, you might be able to stretch that out in a third world country for, you know, a good amount of time, but like not long enough to ride out the statute of limitations, you know?
No.
You're going to have to figure something out eventually.
No, totally right.
It is so not like a bankable fucking heist. Like,
No. Totally. $10,000 is fucking nothing but the balls.
yeah, that's chump change, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
The balls to walk into a bank and be like, let's see.
I know.
Let's see.
Just rolling in my $10,000 in my $1,000 shoes. Like, guess I'm important enough to fucking take this money.
I want to
out,
know.
you know,
I
like,
really want to know that negotiation. I want to know if he tried for more, and they were like, well, you can only take out 10 or whatever. Or if it worked the other way, and he was like 10, and they were like, okay, and then he was like, what about 20? And then they're like, I don't know.
I just like this person had to be so fucking green because like who fucking takes out $10,000 in cash?
Right.
Just casually at a fucking teller, you know, like without any kind of a bag or anything, you know, like
just stuffs it in his fucking suit pockets.
just gonna put it in the pocket of my blazer, you know, like
the side pockets of the blazer, like
fuck me, dude.
That rules. That's some anti-work. That rules. That's some anti-work.